Kilmer. You may know him. Everybody? Good. So as delighted as I am to talk to Mr. Kilmer, I do not want to monopolize his time. So I will try and get to you guys as quickly as possible, so as many of you can ask him a question if you'd like. So
thanks for coming. Not so polite here.
How was your?
Thanked me while I was signing autographs. Very nice.
That's the Midwestern hospitality. Great. Mr. Kilmer, I guess kind of a good way to start is you are revered for playing towering, larger-than-life icons. Jim Morrison, you portrayed Boris.
Yeah.
You portrayed John Holmes in the movie Wonderland.
I don't know if it's a towering icon, though.
Well, he was towering in some respects.
He was a sad drug addict.
He was kind of a sad drug addict. He was also a towering. It was kind of the duality kind of about them.
Really well.
Thank you. I tried really hard.
He portrayed the Batman. He also portrayed the Saint. And now, this is really, really fascinating to me. He has written, he has directed, and he is starring in a one-man production as Mark Twain.
Yeah.
Really, really fascinating. So I guess that'd kind of be a good place to kind of kick things off. Can you talk about sort of your first exposure to Mark Twain?
Well, like all of us, we had to read them in school, right?
Right.
And then you usually don't read them again. You had to read them in school. But looking for many years for a movie to direct and a story to tell that would keep me engaged for many years. It takes a long time to make a movie sometimes. And so I, looking for a story about America and lots of false starts, I finally settled in on this kind of idea of a dual biography about Mary Vickeretti and Mark Twain.
Right. And what about their relationship? What did you find?
Well, they didn't really have one. He really was a wonderful character, very eccentric and brilliant, and he spent the last 10 years really involved in her writings. She started a religion, and what
Christian Science.
Yeah. What interested me so much was how different their lives were and how similar, because they're both really, really strong characters, both self-made, both taken out of school when they were 12, and yet really created a whole new style of writing, or you could argue a whole new style of communication. So I love the idea that there's a woman of such strong ideas. She changed laws. In many states it was illegal for a woman to go to college back then. She started a college. And then Mark Twain is, he's so delightful. In my play, I'm doing a one-man show right now that I'm in the process of finishing writing. I wish I could stop writing it, but he says, it's one of my favorite quotes, few things are harder to put up with than the annoyance of a good example. and he's talking about Mrs. Eddy at that point. He got in the play anyway. It's sort of what she represents is a kind of high ideal. So that's how I got into doing the plays. When I finally finished this first draft, I realized that I hadn't spent enough time preparing for the roles, so I started in with him on stage. That's how he got his start. He did a little bit of writing, but he really got going on stage. He's sort of our first stand-up comedian.
Right.
He's very funny.
He was kind of sort of the original sort of rock tour.
Yeah.
And a lot of people know you as an actor, obviously, but you've also been writing for a very, very long time.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that, about sort of your evolution as a writer?
Very hard to talk about writing.
Right.
It's really tedious.
I know
You have to get, well, that's another Mark Twain quote. If you want to be good, then you're going to be lonely.
That's right.
You spend a lot of time by yourself. I've turned into Rupert Pupkin. Telling jokes in my own house and laughing out loud.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So you have a lot of distinctions, one of which is you were the youngest man ever, committed to Juilliard.
I wasn't committed. It felt like I was
That was the exact wrong word there, yes. Accepted.
For the
That's right,
drama,
accepted.
yeah, I think they've changed that
They
now.
accepted it.
But for music, I'm sure there were 3-year-old violinists there.
Right. Well, when did you sort of realize that you wanted to be a performer?
I just always did it. My little brother was really very gregarious. I was always kind of shy, and in terms of acting, I liked to get the story complete first before I would do anything, and he just would wing it all the time and drag me up in front of people. So I just started doing it. Does anyone have any questions? I feel like we could do this on our own.
Okay, totally. Let's.
Right, do you care?
Let's go to the other.
Are you secretly? Have I upset you?
That is I only had 2 questions, so I'm officially out of them. So let's go to the audience, people. Yes, you.
There's something on your shoulder.
Thing on your shoulder.
Would you stand up and show everyone?
Yes. Reveal yourself.
This is my pet Ridley. Take it.
I'm so glad I didn't wear that.
Yeah, well, I mean, just make sure you don't hug him. But yeah, I was just wondering, what is like your best Batman story?
Well, you know, well, the cast was pretty amazing. It was a lot of time hanging out, so I got to know really interesting people. It was kind of a little bit, not a little bit. It was sad with Jim Carrey. He just lost his father, and I just lost my dad before I did Tombstone. So he'd come over, even though he was just skyrocketing. He'd done something right then that no one had done before. $300 million movies, and they're giant openings, you know. But yet this was what was on his mind. So we talked quite a bit about press and things like that. And just when you asked the question, the first thing I thought of was when you wear this suit, something like 45 pounds or something, it takes an hour to get dressed, and you can't do it by yourself. Then you can't hear because there's really no holes in it. You can't turn your head. You can't go to the bathroom by yourself. You fall over actually quite easily. And you know, these things are always on your mind because you know when you have to say to someone, I have to go to the bathroom. It's weird. And so I was trying to, I knew that it was like something, but nothing that I've ever experienced. But you also, when you kind of sit in a recliner so your back doesn't kill you, and because you're in constant tension, it's like wearing a wetsuit that's 6-7 times tighter than any normal person would wear. And then you have a cape, so you know, it's really kind of psychedelic. But I realized one day, oh, this is being old. No one listens to you anymore. You can't talk. You can't move really. Like if this was falling over, you can't quite get to it in time. You need help going to the bathroom. Someone has to help you get dressed. So it's quite different than it looks. You know, pretty dynamic and youthful. And then just, my memories are kind of like watching it, because you go to work and the Batcave is the actual. It's a cave. It's big. You know, the car really goes 150 miles an hour. You know, it was.
So you're saying it was a documentary?
Yeah.
These were all things that actually happened.
Yeah, it's a true story. Yes. Only because you keep bouncing. If you want to get your question answered back, start bouncing.
Several questions.
Sorry, no, I'm going to try something. I just love you. You played in so many movies. I've seen you in everything. Thunder, Heart, Willow, Saint. I love The Doors.
Oh, thank you.
But one of the best movies I liked you in was The Man Who Broke 1,000 Chains, which you made with Lady. I really love that.
That
because
is a true story.
That was a very good role. You did so really well. And I just wondered, do you really love doing the dramatic roles, or do you really like doing the action?
I've been trying to get the comedies for years, but they won't just give me. Like Vince Vaughn just kind of started just hanging out with his friends and playing little roles, and I just did that little thing with Danny McBride for the end of Eastbound and Down. Yeah, don't clap, because they cut it. Yeah, Google them. Hey, say Val ranted on you. Why did you cut his? No, but these things happen. But they're fantastic, those guys. They're so smart about being stupid. It's kind of like Ricky Gervais. I'm going to do a thing with him and his partner, Merchant, for
Extras.
it's too, life's too short. And I've got for the 4 of you here that saw MacGruber, I'm doing Will Forte and me and Yorma have some stuff we're cooking up, and I got a short for the Mark Twain play that Jack Black's agreed to be in, and I've written a part for Werner Herzog where he plays a Black Widow. It's a deal about ants. You should read this thing by Twain. It's so absurd. His theory is that ants are overrated. Like everyone talks about how industrious they are. It's a big lie. And they eat their brother and they tear off a leg and they argue and they kill each other and they're really dumb. So that's what me and Will Forte and Jack Black are going to do.
I have a request and a question.
You didn't bounce. She bounced.
Oh.
Yes. Question
First of all, the question is, it's for our website, comicbookjerk.com. In your opinion, what is the worst comic book movie ever made?
Oh, I don't want to be rude.
That's okay. We're Comic Book Jerk.
I don't know.
They're all good.
They're all
Yeah,
good.
that's it. I can't think of a one. Yes?
Could the one from Tombstone about Huckleberry?
Yes, there's a couple of them. What?
Did you say that line?
Yes. I say, I'll be a Huckleberry.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing these days. And then he also says, I'm your Huckleberry.
Can we get a I'm Batman?
What's that?
Can we get a I'm Batman?
No. Won't do it.
Draws it next.
So, I got your autograph today. I had my picture taken with me today.
I know, relax.
It means you're technically married in some countries.
I've watched you since I was a little kid. If you were to stand in line and wait for somebody's autograph, or wait for somebody's picture, who would it be?
Besides Charlize Theron? Walk by her house every day and linger.
There's your tag.
Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. I waited in line to meet our president. That was fun.
You've worked with some of the biggest icons in all of entertainment. Marlon Brando,
Yes.
Bob Dylan.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about what it was like acting?
Two of the
opposite
funniest
Marlon
guys
Brando?
I've ever met. Yeah, hilarious. Because, Brando, he's like has X-ray vision. So he sees things, and then the way he when he's in a good mood, because he can explain things about who you are through watching your behavior that you don't know, or he says things in a way that just no one. I just worked last year. I get to name drop with Francis Coppola, and he has the same thing. He just sees things us mortals don't see. It's just fascinating. And then he was saying that like a kid about Brando. He would just be like, that guy, you know, he's just amazing. That's not a very good phrase. I do a better Brando.
That Francis, he was it's like putting fried eggs in your armpits.
I used to smoke and he would be like, "What are you doing to your body?" I said, "You just ate a chicken. Or a turkey I watched you eat. Now you're halfway through the Haagen-Dazs."
I'm talking about you.
You also worked with the producer of The Godfather, Robert Evans.
Yes.
Do you do a Robert Evans, and do you have any great Robert Evans stories?
Well, it's impossible to be around him for one day and not have 100 great Robert Evans stories. I guess, I mean, there's 100 things that he says that are fantastic, but the one I like to say a lot is, you know who Bob Evans is? He made Chinatown. He was running a studio when he was 27. We did a photo shoot in Life magazine, and he was laying in his mink blanket in bed doing business, and no one was doing things like that back then. And but he would say things like, "Val, with you and me, 1 and 1 make 11." It was great. Yes? I'm Batman.
What's your criteria for choosing a role? Because you've had so many various roles in the film.
Well, for a long time, I have a very strange career up against, you know, in relation to my contemporaries who all, pretty much everybody has a kind of persona. You know, when I say Tom Hanks, you think of a flag behind his head. Right? A very clear American, and all of us around the same age, you kind of have a sense, even character actors like Sean Penn, you kind of feel the kind of movie. And I was always trying to look for something that was challenging my interest as an actor exclusively. So it wasn't a particular kind of acting, although I was hoping, like I didn't figure if I stopped doing comedies that I couldn't get them, or I would have done them in some sort of regularity. But one of the reasons my career is so inconsistent is that I was looking, maybe the producer interested me, or the kind of movie, the genre, and so I didn't ever really have any obligations that interested me about career. So then it became hard to get the jobs that, you know, very lucky I got to do whatever I wanted for quite a long time. And, you know, you just have to pay dues no matter what your business is or interest. So now I'm paying dues in the way that I didn't have to do when I was younger, because I can't just do whatever kind of movie I want to do, which I used to be able to do. It was great. but I have but I spent a lot of time and a lot of money on separate interest things different from storytelling or movies, and a lot of projects in Africa and things that I'm not really known for, because I didn't you know, take advantage of my fame to you know, exploit or to help advertise whatever the cause was. But I spent a lot of time writing this last many years now to have a new story. So I'm really excited to go back and be in a kind of have a kind of regular career in life for a while. I've never done that, so it's nice to be normal. Yes? Yes. Faster, faster.
Do you find it more difficult to channel people that have already, that have lived, such as Jim Morrison?
No. Next question. No. Well, with that was challenging because people kind of thought they knew what he looked like or what he was. He only looked like that for about 1 year. He was really trying hard to look like the bag man that he ended up looking like. in just a couple of years. I mean, pretty rough. The producer, Paul Rothschild, that made all the records, he went into the office one day and he didn't recognize him. He didn't know it was this guy. He made every single record. He didn't know it was him. Yeah, it was tough. So that was a challenge. Yes?
What movie are you most proud of that you can act in?
I don't have one. You know, I ruin more takes in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang than I can, because, you know, Robert Downey's so smart, and to see him be so dumb was so pleasing. And he loves to talk, and he couldn't talk back. And then when he did, I got to say like 50 times a day, "Shut up, shut your face, shut up." And I couldn't. If you watch the blooper tape, I've just laughed through it. He's mad at me, like, "Stop laughing, stop, do it again, quick." So that was fun. It's very subjective to make a movie. You kind of remember it's very different feeling than the movie, except for Batman and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. But I liked singing the songs in the Doors. I have horses, so it was fun doing westerns. Yes.
One of my favorite quotes I heard on the commentary to Spartan, you said to rely.
See, he's used to town hall meetings. Everyone can hear you. Please continue.
The quote was to rely on profanity is embarrassing. And
What's that from?
from Spartan, you said on the commentary track for the movie Spartan.
What did I say?
To rely on profanity is embarrassing. And I want to know if there's anything else you think is embarrassing.
That sounds like a David Mamet quote. To rely on,
You wrote your audio commentary as well as the film.
to rely on profanity is embarrassing? I'm sure that's true. It sounds very intelligent. I don't know what I was referring to, so I don't know the...
I forget too, but...
Thanks for sharing. Do you have a question?
Yeah. What else is embarrassing to you?
Oh. Oh, no. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, not embarrassing, but I see context because I have so much affection for him. But when I read it, I thought, oh, I was going to be mad. Because it sounds like, you know, I was talking like I would talk to a friend because I got hustled again. It's really weird. So that embarrassed me to be done in public. Yes.
One of my favorite movies of yours is Heat. I thought you were phenomenal in Heat.
Thank you.
Can you tell us
My
about
agent told me not to do that.
Oh, really?
Oh God, why?
Why not?
Because I was just done Batman, so why play the third lead? I said, you don't think I should be in the poster in between?
Can you tell us about your? Can you tell us about your?
He's like, no, why?
Can you tell us about your experience with filming the shootout in the streets of LA?
Yes. I think the schedule was 6 Sundays, because we could only shoot on Sundays, and I think we did 13.
Oh my God.
And somebody added up the rounds that we shot, which they could build a pyramid out of the blanks. And it was really exciting because I mean, the guys that designed it do hostage retrieval, so it's real. It's a real procedure, how you move forward. And I think really, maybe for the first time in film, you really feel like you're involved in it. And there've been, you know, movies since, but it was really involving and exciting to do it. So Michael Mann was great. Yeah. Yes.
Have you ever wanted to do a TV series? And if so, which ones?
Well, I like this idea that it's an idea I made up about a guy who is based on a experience I had in this lounge that was also a restaurant in New York. I walked in and fell in love with the hostess. Then I found out why she didn't have a boyfriend. She had 4 brothers from New Jersey, and I had to go meet the family and everything. And it was really fun getting to be involved in the kind of hip scene in New York, which wasn't really my thing. And so I had this idea to do a idea of actually what wasn't mine, but David Lynch. There was a writer's strike years ago, and he told me this idea that he was very excited about. He's going to do a TV show because there was a film writers strike, so he could write for TV, and then hopefully the strike would be over by the time the first season was over. Then you're going to take the same cast and put them in a movie and film the movie, but the series would end with a cliffhanger that would get answered in the movie, and then the movie would have a cliffhanger that would get answered in the second season, and then it would be finished. And that is Twin Peaks. Isn't that fun to move through a different format? So I had that idea for this to do a what do you call it when everybody's together? It's an ensemble.
Ensemble.
Yeah. So that's my favorite TV series. It's never been made. That was my idea. I like that. But actually, Jorma Taccone, they did MacGruber. He co-wrote it with Will Forte and their gang. They have a good idea for a TV series. And I just made a movie with Harmony Korine called The Fourth Dimension. And I love this premise, and because I hope you laugh, because I can't say it without laughing. This is the premise. I am a motivational speaker, but I'm an idiot. So he doesn't, they always sort of, there's some sort of hustle. They want you to buy the DVD or, belong or buy the book or something. And this guy doesn't care about any of that. He's just an idiot. But he's got tons of enthusiasm. So we've been talking about doing something like a docudrama, like the format of the original. I guess the one in the States is the same, but I think that Office that Ricky Gervais and Merchant did is brilliant writing. Just so subtle and weird and bold. Great writing. Yes?
I'm sorry. Is there anybody that...
I wasn't talking to you. I'll come back to you then.
Okay.
Ask at the same time. You answer hers and I'll answer yours. Go.
Compared to your incarnation as Batman, what do you feel about Christopher Nolan and the new Batman?
Well, they're doing what I hoped that we would do, but didn't do. I mean, it's great, right? I just thought it was, what interests, like Spielberg, Lucas, they don't wonder what kids think. They go ask them. And that was kind of my suggestion. Why don't we talk to the people that really love it and talk, because I had childhood ideas or memories from the Batman, and when you think of what Bob Kane dreamt up, and so many stories are very, very similar lines that he really understood something fundamental that's still entertaining us 50 years later. It's a $1 billion business. This one idea that he had is really phenomenal. So that was my idea. To I think because of Tim Burton's success with the first one, with Nicholson being so amazing, and you just can't help but want to see it over again, even while you're watching it. But everybody's so great in it. But I think they got kind of carried away with the idea of the bad guy being immune to the rules somehow. In other words, in the original, he really gets the hell kicked out of him and then thrown off the bell tower, right? I mean, he suffers, and that sort of went away. It became sort of cute or something. It's entertaining. I like them, but it's like what they're doing now is more I think this original spirit or the spirit that's strong. Yes?
I just wondered if there's anybody that if there's anybody that you have not worked with that you would like to work with.
Charlize Theron. It was very embarrassing to rape Angelina Jolie with all those guys watching. In Alexandra. So I'd like to do a frivolous comedy with her. She's very funny. Brad's funny too, but they're gonna get married. What's that?
He said it was a spoiler, so it's not, it was all over a missing.
Yes?
I wanted to thank you for being a fan of Real Genius and your your line from that movie helped me get laid in high school. Specifically the one where you talk about a tree where you had some god rose.
I remember.
Yeah, but my question is, besides now, what's the biggest backfire from the bank?
What's what?
Awkward situation you had with your bank where someone has talked to you, felt uncomfortable, but some weird situation with the bank?
Well, sometimes I get a little disoriented anyway, all by myself. A lot of people around, it's just hard to focus sometimes because my eyes will hold a flash 4 or 5 times longer than normal. So if it's at an opening, my body is saying you're in trouble because you're blind. You know, so retreat. But someone's asking you who made your tuxedo. You have to sort of make the face and so sometimes it feel uncomfortable just because it's not something I kind of revel in. It's usually something if I'm unlucky and it's sort of like things happen on press tours and things, you're tired. That's hard. I can't remember the question. Oh, well, this is a terrible trick. Someone rushes at you, you go, hi! And if I'm in that sort of state where, the flash be going, everything, I say hi, and I can't remember who you are. I'm thinking, who's this? And sometimes they'll wait and we go, we've never met. It's a rotten hammer. What?
Have you ever played any practical jokes on your other actors, or have any other actors played practical jokes in your favorites in the movie Batman? Do you have one to take advantage of the costume, go around,
I mean, that's like 4 questions. Yeah, it's fun to goof around on the set. It's hard to help it. Nothing's coming to mind right now. Can I think about it? I'll come back tomorrow and I'll...
Who was instrumental in giving you your first big break, and what was the circumstance behind it?
Well, it was just that, talking about a real genius, that was Brian Grazer, and he was very young. I hadn't made maybe 1 or 2 movies. And he was hilarious. He's full of energy and very, he's really an animated guy. And we've made 4 or 5 pictures together. I kept trying to pitch him. I thought he would come around. He never has. It's a funny idea. It's actually Sean Lennon's idea of a sequel to Real Genius. That he'd be a teacher now and be really rich from Velcro or something. So, and have another college drama, but now he's the teacher.
Yes, please.
Yeah, right. We'll write it. Send it in. Do it. I'm in Twainville. I can't. Yes?
You played a blind person so well in that First Sight.
I have a funny story about that.
Well, I want to hear that, but I also want to know how did you prepare for that? Because you did it so well.
I walked around New York with my eyes closed. That is terrifying. Because New Yorkers are busy, and there are a lot of blind people in New York, and they don't care. Like, I just stood one day at an intersection. I thought, well, I'll just wait till someone helps me. It was about an hour. Yeah, very humbling to walk around with your eyes closed. And I was at the Grammys one year, and this guy keeps looking at me, and finally I just looked over and said, hi. And he goes, hi, I didn't want to bother you, but I'm help out Stevie Wonder, and he'd like to meet you. I said, great, I mean, sure. So as we're walking, he goes, he really loves your movies. I said, that's not funny. No, he does. Really loves at first sight. Now, I don't know what to say to the guy. What do I say? So, and he brought it up. He goes, oh, I love at first sight. Talking about which parts. And I think it was his brother, or whoever's around. They talk through the story and tell him what's going on, and that was, yeah, pretty great. Stevie Wonder. That's a seal of approval. Yes.
Okay. I noticed that you did the voice work in Spider-Man and in Time.
Yes.
Are you interested in doing any other voice jobs, including maybe a DC animated movie?
Sure. It's really fun because, like, I did DreamWorks' first animated movie, Prince of Egypt. Where I played Moses and God. Briefly. But it's really great because, much like the theater, you get the time to be really involved and meticulous. We had that with Batman because of the size of the budget, and Bob Kane was around, so but with these wonderful animation like Pixar, you see that the credits are 10 minutes long because there are hundreds and hundreds of people involved, and that's how great films get made. The kind of attention to detail, and because it's so expensive, they can't get it wrong. They really are focused on what's really happening in the story at that moment. And very often, you end up lobbying for things that are terribly important or really normal. Like, I want to be rude, but I did a story once, and they just weren't tending to the leading lady. I don't know what it was. I think maybe the cinematographer just didn't like her, and so he just wasn't lighting her. And she had a great face, but took care. You watch these classics, and you see, these wonderful actresses were really lit like each scene's a painting. You don't see that very often. You see, anything Paul Thomas Anderson does, it's very specific, and any great director, you see that they care about everything in the frame. That's why they're great. But that was really fun doing the voice because you can really work on it. It feels more like theater. Yes, in the back.
What's most important to you when you work with a director? Like, what really inspires you when you're working with a given, over the years you've worked with many. What qualities in a director do you most appreciate?
Like, because we're here in Chicago, like David Mamet, I was such a fan my whole life of his plays. I have often gotten accused of being difficult, but I'm not. I just am trying to make the movie better, and there's always, or usually, something to do to make it better. But with David, for example, I didn't try to do anything because I know he's so clear about what he understands and how things are important to him. It's just a very particular way. So I never went to work with trying to convince him of my version of that. There's something that I'm just blanking on. William He's done tons of theater here.
Really amazing.
Yeah. You know, it just doesn't sound like Mamet. It's just him, but it's so amazing. Or who's always in Tarantino's movies?
C2E2?
He is too. This one's black. Samuel. You know, it's just a different thing when he's saying those words. You know, it's so fluid, and he's just, those guys are you know, great. It's like some great Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers or something. They know how to he knows how to act for him, and Tarantino knows how to write for him. So I kind of feel like now that I'm older too, like I really regret some of these times, like with Oliver Stone I mentioned, where I think, you know, I had strong opinions. Some of them were very vivid, where I was really trying hard to convince him of a particular part of the story that I thought was important that wasn't in the movie. And now that I understand how hard it is to make them, I wouldn't do that again, because you know, I didn't realize I was making adding to a really long list of stuff you got to get done in the day for the director. And also, it's their medium. You know, I think a movie like that, where if I hadn't worked so hard on my own, it wouldn't have been as dynamic, but we complemented each other, because he had they were new ideas at the time, new technology, new lenses, little things that he went on to really perfect and be a leader in innovations in how editing and stuff is happening, that were new ideas that were hard to understand while he was doing it. So many questions. Yes? Do you want to do that? You can do it for a while.
All right. Yes?
All right.
Could you talk a bit about how you got involved with Spartan? Because that's my go-to Val Kilmer movie.
Oh, thanks. He asked me and I said yes. Thank you very much.
Now, was it true that you were sitting next to him in a restaurant and you overheard them talking? Is that...
No.
They're true?
It's usually not true, whatever the thing is they're saying. Yes?
There's a song by Bowling Pursuit named Val Kilmer.
By who?
By Bowling Pursuit.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's a good joke, right?
I don't know if you listened to it and what you thought about it.
I haven't heard it, but I really like the idea. That's Mark Twain. That's because I just finished his play on Thursday. He spends the first 10 minutes talking about how much he loves compliments. He said, give yourself a compliment. If you can't get a compliment in any other way, do like Congress does. Give yourself a compliment. Oh, love compliments, but I'm often embarrassed to say to a person, I don't know what to think when they give me a compliment. I so often feel they have not gone far enough. I don't feel that way. What was the question?
I asked if you heard the song that was named.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're all green over there.
Yes, I am.
Oh yeah.
I had a photo of you earlier as the witch lady.
What?
I was there earlier, you turned around, you were like,
Costume change? Yes?
For anyone who wants to get into the business, what would be a great piece of advice? And two, are you bringing Mark Twain to Chicago?
I am bringing Mark Twain to Chicago. I don't know when. Thank you. And my advice is get out now while you can. I'm not kidding. It's so hard. And there's so many of us around out of work. There's never a work. This guy, he ran our school. I was 18, and he said, the only vacation you'll ever have is when you can't get a job. It's so awful. Don't do it. Pick something fun.
it is fun. It's
No, it's not. It's kind of fun. I mean, I'm having so much fun now. Like I never liked Los Angeles because I was raised there, and it's a tragic city, just how it's built. It doesn't function as a city, it functions as a gigantic town. And there's a difference, you know, like I said, the greatest thing, there's no there. But now, you know, my kids are there. My daughter lives in New York, and she's in LA a lot right now. And, you know, I am enjoying it more for what it does have. It's very eccentric, and it is a failed city. It will never get fixed. But the Disney Hall is one of the great buildings on Earth, and there's a lot there, you know. 30 million people can't be wrong. I think, was it 22 million people? And then lots of not registered people? Yes, in the back. Are you guys still twins? What? Oh, well, it wasn't Jim Morrison to start with, because, you know, it's a very tragic life. He had real great gifts. He had a photographic memory, and had really was wonderfully articulate about what art is and what theater is, and you know, kind of threw it all away. So it wasn't really fun to be him, you know, or to imagine being that unhappy. And then things that it's a strange paradox to be alone or free on stage in front of lots and lots of people. But I understand that feeling, so that was something, you know, that I related to. But Oliver Stone was really coming on strong, and he made some really challenging films. Salvador was really inspiring to me, and I remember being in school in New York when, now I'm blanking on it, about the guy that gets busted for drugs in
Midnight Express.
Midnight Express, and it was, the scroll said that the guy had just, when he made it into the United States, was something like December 78, and this was February 79 that I was watching it. And just the idea of being involved in a story that Oliver's done very consistently, that really matters at the time he's making it, was inspiring. Yes, in the back.
I have two questions. The first one was, I wanted to know what attracted you to the role on Ghost in the Darkness with Michael Douglas. And the second question is, I wanted to know if you could do a little I'm Your Huckleberry.
Oh, we did all that before you came in. I did like 10 minutes of that. So. Ask the friends. Ghost in the Darkness, great screenwriter. Guy who wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Best subplot I've ever read still, and they cut it, which was tragic. But I love Africa. I've been going there since the early 80s, and I've done a lot of work there. A lot of it anonymously, and they happen to choose, it's a Tanzanian Uganda story, but they chose to film in South Africa, where I've got the most friends, and it was everything about it was just really fun. I love being out there. I lived on their reserve. It's fun to go to work and have to call in and say, I'm sorry, I'm going to be late. There's a rhinoceros in the road. It happened a lot too. It's great. Yes.
I loved Ghost in the Darkness when I was young, and I was wondering.
He just said that.
Yeah, I know. And I was wondering if you got to work with real lions or anything.
Yes, and do you know lions don't crawl? They don't.
Yeah.
Then why would they?
Yeah.
So there's a scene where he's wounded and crawling toward me. I'm on the ground. So they worked to work. They were very excited. They said, I think we figured it out. They kept putting plexiglass, forcing him down on the ground, and then have a bunch of meat at the end. So he would crawl. So I said, that sounds terrifying, because I'm the meat now, right? And he said, yeah. I said, so what if they, suddenly have gotten good at it, and you don't know, and now they're crawling faster than ever before? And he said, well, that's a problem. Because they didn't have a plan. It wasn't like they were going to jump on him, or they were going to ask him really nicely to stop. So, and it was paralyzing to be on the ground, because the mouth, you know, it's the mouth's this big, but when you're on the ground, the mouth. They have me feeding them because I was living on the reserve, and it was amazing. I love lions anyway, but when and they don't really get tamed, you know, like who are the guys in? You're like the guy that stands behind Reagan. Like, that's your son. Yeah. Siegfried and Roy. Yeah. Could happen to you.
Siegfried and Tiger.
Yes.
Because you're talking about the lions, have you seen them? They're at the field museum.
Yes, I have. They're right here in Chicago. Yeah. Yes. Do I what? You mean give me chastity and give me continency, but do not give it yet?
Yeah. But in the voice.
No, I forgot. Did I say that? That's my favorite quote of his, but I don't remember what I said in the movie. I did say that. Yeah, I wrote that. Actually, my favorite character that didn't get in the movie, there's lots of black doctors in Russia. They go from Africa, get their doctorate, and then they can't get a job. They can't get home, so they're like waiters. And having been to Russia a bunch, I thought that was a great character. So I did the makeup test, and I wrote a character where I would be an African doctor, but now I'm a waiter in one of the clubs, and that's when I go to talk to the Russian mobster. But I look like Arthur Ashe, and they didn't like it. So I cut it. So I look like Rade instead. We did the beard. And yes. Did you whisper the question again? You can ask another question. No, go ahead.
Okay. Is there a role that you passed up on?
Yeah, but then it would be rude to the actor if I said which one.
We won't tell.
Promise you won't tell anyone?
We won't tell anyone.
Yes. To your question. I'll tell you, I didn't really understand how much shorter the lifespan is of a director than an actor. So, like David Lynch offered me more than one role, and I just thought, oh, we'll get to that later. You know, I regret those. Several. Robert Altman's gone. I turned him down a couple of times. That was silly. You know, they're not. I mean, can you think of anybody like Robert Altman? You know, just isn't anybody like him. And I miss him. And Werner Herzog, I practically stalked because I love him. I want to be in a comedy though, with Werner, being Werner. He said to me on the set one day, because to me, I can't stop laughing around him because he's just hilarious. And he's so serious that just is funny to me. And he came up and he said, "Can you please stop laughing before the takes, because my wife Luna is taking pictures of you, and in every photograph you are made to look ridiculous." Because he said ridiculous like right in my ear. It was like in my head. Werner's echoing in my head. So I was like, yeah, sure. I won't laugh anymore. Like he wanted to be mad, but he knew that I'm happy on his set, so he couldn't really get mad. He wanted to be mad. Yes?
You seem like such a funny guy. Why aren't you a comedian?
Well, there's a lot of laughs in the Mark Twain. But I would like to do more comedies, but you can't. It's a very cookie cutter genre in Hollywood. You can't just decide to do them, because they very clearly are selling that story. I mean, think of any. What's the last time where it was a non-well-known actor suddenly in a comedy? What's that? What? But the other guy's pretty funny. Jonah's not funny?
He used to be.
Oh, that's great. I haven't seen it, but I think he deserves his nomination, yes.
Chicago's known for its improv. How often have you had a chance to improv in a movie, and do you enjoy doing it?
I do. Often.
What's some of the things you improv?
All I'm thinking of is what I just did, because we finished this recent workshop on Thursday of the play, which is called Citizen Twain, about Mark Twain. But you know, it's very important to be able to think as a character, because then you're clear of the rhythm and how they think. And the idea is it's a very odd thing to describe, but the idea is to not know what's happening. So if someone asks you a question, you don't know what the answer is. So it's a weird trick you try to play on yourself. And it's easier to do it in movies because you have the advantage of cutting. On stage, you have to build it into the stage. It's riskier and scarier, but you know, the guys that really do that well, like Vince Vaughn, you know, in Wedding Crashers, that's probably 30% of the movie. It's very clear. You can feel that his rhythm in it, and it was great that they let him fly. He kind of does that anyway, right? I don't think we can stop him. He's 6'5". Yes?
And then we actually, our time is almost up, so this would probably be our last question. So make it count, people, make it count.
What are some of your favorite comedies, and who would you like to work for in relation to comedy?
I've been talking to Owen Wilson, and he's not talking back. No, he's a friend, and we've been talking about doing something. And I mentioned Jorma Taccone and Will Forte. Will's a really good actor, so that's exciting to try to do something. Or like Jonah. Jonah's very talented actor. So I have a kind of a, I guess it's not really a farce, but I like the idea of Adam Sandler's quite a legitimate singer. And Jack Black's a friend, so I thought, well, wouldn't that be fun if we did a comedy but a real band? Because they can really sing and do something goofy, you know.
Yeah!
Very much.
Right here, Mr. Kilmer. Right here. Thank you.
Love you.